Alright, here we go. Another noob runner. This time I'm just going to talk a little bit about my first love, and that's board gaming. I got into board gaming back in 2015, and I found out about it through a site. I had started playing some Dungeons and Dragons again, and then I found a site called Dice Tower on YouTube and started watching tons of their videos and learned all about this board game scene. And I ended up building a collection to about 107 games. And then in 2019, I the 107 games was just too much for me because there's two different people in the board gaming genre. Typically, there's some people who I'm sure fall in the middle, but there's people who either want to just experience more and more new games and just see these new games and play them and really appreciate them and build collection. And then there's people who, like me, who are in it for personal growth, right? I'm competitive in that I want to give it my best whenever I play a game, but whether I win or lose, I really don't care. I don't assume myself to be able just to walk into a game and be great. So I want to put in the work to be better at it. And so the fun of board gaming is not winning or losing, it's seeing that personal growth where one game I didn't understand this strategy and now I've kind of grown and learned that strategy. And that's one of the things that's really led me at this point, after about 5 years of heavy board game playing, to kind of settle in and make Netrunner my focus, at least for a period. I mean, I don't see myself ever not playing Netrunner, but I'm pretty giving it a large portion of my time as far as my allotted board gaming time. Each week I'm probably investing about 90% of my gaming time to Netrunner at this point. And so anyway, this is BGG, Board Game Geek. I'm sure some of y'all are board gamers as well, and so you know about this. But this is where I'm pretty OCD. I log everything. I want a history. I want to be able to go back and look, and so I log all this right here before I get into some other stuff on this site. You can see my top 10 games at the current time, and Blood Rage has been my favorite game since 2016. I've got about 40 plays of it, and that guy stayed there until about a month ago. And after about 200 plays of Netrunner, I couldn't do anything but acknowledge that this, if I had to choose, this is my favorite game. It Blood Rage is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I know it got knocked off of number one, but I love it. Okay, still. But Android Netrunner offers something in the midst of that deck building. You can build decks that do some very interesting things, right? I mean, like this the other day, I got wrecked by this insane virus deck that it's really can be beaten probably pretty easy, but it caught me off guard, and that guy had a blast pulling off this one combo that he was working so hard on, right? That he built this deck for. He built this deck for one combo. It was a card that I'm trying to remember what it was, but anyway, it let him it was a Mimic and an Amakua, and he used Hive Mind and this other one that lets you transfer your virus counters to another one, to another card. And he ended up putting together at the last minute, because I didn't know what was coming, put together like a 10 virus combo on both Mimic and Amakua at the last minute, and just absolutely, just rolled right into R&D and accessed like 10 cards and stole like 5 agendas when he already had like two of them. So he ended up like overblowing the 7 point agenda requirement. And I was just like, wow. And he gave me that deck list. I look forward to trying it out sometime. But it was, I mean, just stuff like that is just amazing. Just before you even play the game, the deck building aspect to try and attempt to put together a group of cards to do something either super powerful or do something that's just fun and interesting and hilarious, sometimes. So That right there. And then when you get into the game, the strategy. I'm talking about just the level of understanding. I say strategy in the board gaming community. We talk about strategy as strategy would be long term goals, right? Your long term planning, and tactical would be a response according to what just took place last turn or within the last two turns, and you being responsive to that in the appropriate manner. Certain games fall into more or less one of those categories. Sometimes you have hybrids, obviously, but some games it's all about the long-term strategy, and there's no way the opponent can mess with you. And other games, such as Netrunner, is a constant, oh no, he just did this, I have to react to that. So really, I'd say Netrunner falls more on the tactical side of the house, but there definitely is a long-term strategy that has to be focused on as you're working your tactical play. You still have an ultimate goal you're trying to accomplish with that particular deck. So anyway, saying all that, there is a ton of that going on there that leads you to have so much depth to dig into and just learn and grow and just understand percentages if you really want to go that far, and just all kinds of stuff. But on top of that is this unbelievable luck factor as the runner making that run on headquarters, and you're able to access 2 out of 5 cards, and you've got 3 card chance potentially, if there's only one agenda in there, of missing it, of absolutely missing it. And as the corp, you need him not to get to access a particular card, and he ends up accessing it. And those emotions that flow into that after all of your strenuous planning and strategy and tactics, you end up having this moment of pure luck. Is it gonna happen? And it just like fires up so many emotions in me all the time. It's just unbelievable. It really is. And so that is why Android Netrunner has taken my number one spot, has caused me to want to just really just pour into it and invest into it to attempt to gain the strategy so that I can appreciate that luck factor even more, right? There's so much luck mitigation that can take place in Netrunner, but at the end of the day, it still can come down to luck. Sometimes luck of the card draw, luck of their card draw, any number of things, and also R&D access, right? I mean, R&D access is another one, but the headquarters feels so much more intense, right? But I say all that to say, y'all can take a look at these games. Forbidden Stars, it's out of print. Man, you want to talk about an epic game. And as I've gotten further into board games, I've really gotten to a place where I just want a very solid hour to 3 hour long, real meaty experience. Before I was experiencing all the mechanics and floating around themes, mechanics, all that, and I've really set it into a place where I really enjoy a good theme and a good meaty game that lasts somewhere between an hour and 3 hours. Android being an exception to that, in that a good solid game can last 20 minutes, even 20 to 45 minutes, or sometimes it can go an hour, hour and a half, but that's really kind of rare. But I never feel wanting whenever I finish a game of Netrunner, right? I'm never like, oh man, that one only lasts me 30 minutes. No, I'm excited. Let's play another one. So anyway, that's my favorite, my top 10 games. One thing I wanted to show y'all here is, like I said, I record everything, and y'all are welcome to go check out my BGG. It's Red 85. But anyway, here's how do I know I got roughly 200 plays. This isn't perfectly accurate because, again, prior to me really getting into the game back in 2019, which I'll go ahead and verify these dates right in front of y'all right now. But prior to me getting into the game, I did go on Netdecking and give it a shot. But again, I was a board gamer and I wanted that in-person experience at the time. So I probably put down, and I didn't wasn't willing to invest in the interface to the point where I was constantly using that excuse, like the interface is kind of it's kind of challenging to use, even though now that I've played all these, even 10 games after I got into it, it was quite easy to understand how to utilize that interface. But anyway, Netrunner is right here. You see, I pretty much, with all my games, I give it a ranking, and I only give 2 games a 10. Before, it was only my number one game gets a 10, but Blood Rage is still a 10 to me, so now I have 2 games that are a 10, and then I start for like my top fives, probably like 9.5s, and my bottom half of the top 10 are probably 9s, and then it just goes down there from there, right? But anyway, and then I give a description of what I love about the game usually, and then I have my plays here, which again I actually tend to document in a somewhat cryptic way. I usually, if I've never played, if I don't think I'm ever going to play with the person again, I might just put a question mark or whatever by their score. But if it's somebody I play with all the time, like my buddy Eric, I end up putting an E here for him. And I've been trying to lately be a little bit more descriptive, but in the past I've pretty much just had these basics. The reason why these 23 are here is, again, I wasn't documenting back in early 2015 or late 2015, early 2016 when I got the game, and I just kind of had to do a little bit of estimation of how many games I played at one point, but I was pretty close to the time, so I had a pretty good number. So these numbers could be off by just a hint. And again, I wasn't documenting Jinteki plays back then either, so there's probably a handful of Jinteki plays from back in the day that didn't get documented as well. But anyway, see here, right here, 2019, January 21st. We started playing, we played a little bit of Netrunner. We played 5 games, and then we kicked off Terminal Directive, I believe. We kicked it off, and this guy beat the brakes off of me. Yeah, I've put so much more effort into Netrunner, and this guy is just my buddy. He's just a very sharp fella, and he constantly beats me. And here's the worst part. I go on here to Jinteki, and I'm over here working with my deck, and I'm sitting there playing all these folks, and I'm like, yeah, I've been practicing. I should beat this guy with ease. And this guy goes into his collection that I sold him that goes all the way basically to Lunar, with a couple of Sand packs, a couple of Flashpoint, and a couple of Moonbot, and maybe one. I think he's got Crimson Dust and one of the Qatar Cycle packs. But anyway, this guy will put together some decks, and I'll go in there all cocky, and this guy will end up beating me, and I'll be so mad because I'm like, I've been working so hard, and this guy literally has not played this game in 4 weeks, and he just beat me. I'm so mad, right? But not to the point where I'm like mean or anything, but just inside, I'm just like, come on, this is impossible, you know? But anyway, so we pretty much ran Terminal Directive, and then we just he loves the game too. He really does, but he likes a lot of other board games too. But so I try and take advantage. We get together once a week for gaming, and usually we'll play a regular board game, and then we'll have our Netrunner decks there just in case it wraps up fast, and we're like, let's run it, type thing. So anyway, I played with him, like I said, all of these games predominantly, except for one with another buddy of mine, were all with him. And then we get to 2020, March 2020, where I commenced to playing on Jinteki. I started to focus more in on the stem hack slack. I didn't know about green level clearance at the time. I started to hang out there, and they had the Project Crow tournament, and I hopped on there in April of 2020 and played that. And then let's see here. which was a weekly. You play these pre-made beginner decks that work you through casual or beginner to casual to tournament level decks. And man, the criminal deck for Project Crow was so fun. The beginner deck, man, I love that deck a lot. And it really introduced me to some new cards, and really thrusted forward my passion for Netrunner a lot right there. And for the most part, like I've told you, I've been deck listing. I've been doing net decking. I've been just going out and grabbing a new idea I want to try and looking at the most popular deck list and just picking one of them. But now, after I've been playing some more cards, I oftentimes try and look and say, is there at least 3 to 4 cards I've never played before in that deck? That's the one I want to play. So that's kind of what I've been doing to force myself, because if I go and build decks, I'm gonna go grab those exact same cards that I've always been comfortable with, because it takes some understanding to really learn how to use some of these cards. You got to see it done to you, but then even then, it doesn't fully click with me a lot of times, because I'm so concentrated on my own game at this point that I don't always concentrate on the nuances of other people's games like I need to. But I am getting better at that as well. But anyway, net decking is a great way just to get you out of your comfort zone. I know you feel completely inadequate piloting those net decks, especially the first couple of times you play them. But if a lot of them have descriptions that'll tell you about that, and I'll show you about that in another video with Netrunner DB. We'll get into that. But I've been doing mostly net decking, except for this modded tournament I've been in. I actually, because it was such a small card pool, I went in and actually built my own decks for those. And in a future video, we're going to get into exactly how. I actually got a guy who came in and gave me a suggestion on my runner modded deck, so we're going to go into that and look at me kind of tweaking it based off of some of the statements that he made there. So anyway, as you can see, a lot of my games lately have been the modded and Netrunner, because I do those tournaments weekly, and they're a great tournament that's not very doesn't zap a whole lot of your time. It's not where if you had to say, sorry, I couldn't play my games this week, people are going to be super upset with you, even though, like I've said in the past, I'm all about committing to it. If I'm committing to it, because I want to let those guys know by my actions that I appreciate what they do, taking their time to set up these tournaments for people. And actually, I mean, a lot of those guys are probably vets who've been around for a long time, and they could be over there on servers that are for advanced players or just hanging out on Netdecking, and instead they're taking the time to provide an environment where new players can come in and really grow and have a chance to work through some of the older card pool, and even the new card pool with the modded and System Core 20, the System Core 2019 and Ashes cycle for the modded format. So I just really appreciate those guys, and I've been enjoying working through both of those card pools and everything. Let's see here. That's pretty much all I want to say. But if you want to know how I know that I got about 200 games, I actually log every single one of them. And I was getting ready to start providing more detailed information, but at this point on my plays, but at this point I'm actually recording a lot of my plays. So there, and that's one of the things about the channel, is that even if I never actually develop any type of community here, and people never, provide any input, and don't glean anything, at the end of the day, I got my games on a free database, with the YouTube channel, that I can go back and look at 10 years from now and be like, look at that. Look how bad I was at Netrunner back then, and I can go back and watch my games. And so, but I'm hoping that I can offer some type of benefit. I know I'm not the best speaker. I know I'm not the best player. I know, I have faults on every aspect of making videos, right? But at the end of the day, it's a no loss situation. The worst I can get is somebody hop on there and tell me I suck. I mean, oh well. I'll live. You know what I mean? So why not provide a possible outlet for some people, and hopefully the content continues to improve to the point where people who are not interested in watching a 2 hour video, I get it. I mean, I'm kind of the same way. My time is precious. Hopefully I continue to figure out ways to compress that time limit and provide solid content that people really want to watch. But like they always say, you got to just put something out there. You know, if you never put anything out there, you're never going to get comfortable with it. You're never going to see ways to improve. So I just threw something out there. And for nothing else, that is me having that experience on film that I can go back and watch at a later date. So that's where I'm at right now, and I'm continuing to try and improve in the not only my Netrunner but also in how I present the content in a way that can actually meet the goals that I'm trying to accomplish, which is provide some ability for new players to have some modern day, right, post FFG, ending the game content that can provide information to new players and them get to see games at a low level that's moving kind of slower, and me talking about it at a level they can probably understand. And also me, who doesn't have, as a husband and a father and several other activities that are priorities in my life, who doesn't have time to play 10-20 games a week usually. I have the opportunity to hopefully glean from the community as you guys share stuff, so I can hopefully get my game up to a place where I can hop on Genteki with people who are just out there playing, and I can be competitive, and I can move at a good pace, and know the card pool and be competitive and enjoy and enjoy games with them, and hopefully them enjoy games with me. Right? That's my goals for the channel, and so I'm working towards that, and I've already thought of some ideas of ways that I can improve that. So anyway, y'all check out my if y'all are board gamers, or even if you're not and you just want to go back and see my massive amount of losses to Eric here, feel free to hop on my BGG Red 85 and look all over my information and all. Right, feel free to read the stuff and look at my games I love here, and any other number of things, and reach out to me on BGG via mail, and talk to me. I also have a geek list that I did, Why It's On My Shelf, that actually spawned several other geek lists, or several other Why It's On My Shelf variants that came out from some other guys who were active on my forum, and they kind of kept that thing going forward. So that's some of the contributions I've done in the board gaming community as well. But anyway, that's all I got for this video, and I hope that y'all enjoyed it and got some sort of information that might be valuable to you. I mean, basically I was talking about myself and my board game stuff, so I don't know if that is, but I just thought I'd take a video to share that with you. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later, and keep watching out. I got some other stuff coming like this where I'm not playing Netrunner. I'm just talking about some Netrunner sites that I frequent and how I use them at this point. So take care.